Welcome to Interceptor Beyond podcast. My name is Arthur and this is the Green Room Sessions. And on this episode, I talked to Eddie of the rock band Hippie Death Cult that played in Vienna that night in the Viper Room. There were also two bands there, Lurch, spelled L-U-R-C-H, really cool band, check them out. And also Mothers of the Land. You already know them, we had an interview with them a long time ago, a couple months ago. I think it was the first episode of the Green Room Sessions. So I decided not to interview them this time. It's too early, it's too soon. And with the Lurch people, we agreed that I'm going to interview them sometime later when the new material comes out. Alright, so I recorded this interview with Eddie outside of the club. We found a really cool place 1 block away. It was a park. It was dark and there was only one table and there was some light shining on it and it was really super quiet. It was perfect interview atmosphere. So yeah, enjoy the show. And don't forget, if it's the first time you're listening to this episode or this podcast in general, don't forget to follow and rate this show. And if it's not the first time you're listening to the show, please tell somebody about the show. Send a link. Anyways, thank you very much. And let's talk to Eddie.
Yeah, I'm Eddie Brnabic, the guitarist of Hippie Death Cult from Portland, Oregon.
I've known your band since the very beginning, since 2019, I think,
sure,
right? When you released the first single, 111 was a single, right?
Well, we released singles leading up to the album coming out. Basically, how it happened was we got together and we wrote some songs, I want to say within 3 to 5 months of being together, and did some demos just so we could get gigs and whatever, just to do something. And I started putting some of the songs online. We put Sanctimonious up and then Pigs and then I think Black Snake. And then it caught attention from the whole underground scene and different underground labels and stuff like that. And when we started talking with Cursed Tongue Records, who put that first album out, he wanted to release those demos as the album. So like that became it happened really fast. So yeah, we released kind of singles on our own, not necessarily as singles, just like putting ourselves out there kind of thing. And then we put it out as an album, 111,
Yeah, I remember because I remember the cover for the 111.
Sure. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, for what I've known, I checked all the interviews with you and all the stuff.
Sure.
So I saw that it was kind of a coincidence that your band came together.
Sure.
And actually, like I noticed a thing that you and Ryan said in separate interviews when you were on Couch Riffs, that it also it clicked with you, yes, on the vibe level, on everything, right?
Sure.
But also you and him, I didn't find anything about Laura because she doesn't give so many interviews.
Sure.
But you stopped caring,
Sure.
When you stopped caring about what other people think, I would say like this.
Yeah.
And it was a magic moment that it happened.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the question is like, do you think that would it be possible that you had this epiphany earlier, because you were playing in other bands
Sure.
for a long time.
Over 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it happened later. Do you think it would be possible earlier in your life when you stopped caring, the stopped caring part?
That's very interesting to think about, but probably, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there might be something about wanting something so bad that you're kind of pushing it away from yourself because maybe you're putting that out into the world that you want something. So that's what you get because, you know what I mean? And then when you stop caring and just leave it to chance or whatever, it comes to you. That's an interesting thing to think about. I don't know,
You never thought because you didn't have time to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely read books about and about other people's experiences with that and how that happened for them as well. So yeah, I came to a point where I stopped caring it just in general about any kind of success with music or anything, and it was more just about the joy of doing it and how I wanted to spend my time, how limited your life is and how temporary everything is, and when you realize all that kind of stuff, yeah, I guess you just naturally stop holding on to caring about all that kind of stuff. Because even whatever you do have, it's going to be gone tomorrow. Everything's, so temporary. So yeah, I don't know but that's an interesting thing to think of, but yeah, maybe maybe. I don't know.
I asked this for the bands who are new. For example, we've seen one band today. They're super fresh.
Yeah.
And like it's something like because when before this moment you're trying to fit in a way.
Sure.
You're checking the trends, what's cool now, what's not. Ryan was doing with his drums.
Sure.
Before he was like Nirvana came, and everybody wanted to be like Nirvana, limited kit and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to say is that maybe if people start to listening to what they want to do more in the beginning and not really caring that much, it's possible. I don't know.
As far as that goes, I've never cared about trends or trying to fit in or any of that kind of shit. Like, I've always been doing what's close to my heart since day one. And I moved to Los Angeles with a guitar and a suitcase and $500 20 years ago to start a rock and roll band when it was the most unpopular. Like, in the early 2000s, rock and roll was the most unpopular thing, at that time.
Yeah, I checked the time. I remember. Yeah, I know that time.
There was no stoner rock scene. There was none of these festivals. All this stuff that's happening right now, none of that was happening. I had a band. I started a band in LA. There was no other bands to even play with. There was no scene, and I worked my ass off just as hard back then with that band as I am now. But there wasn't a support thing and like a scene like there is now today, that the world changing and all that kind of thing is partly what inspired me to keep going 20 years later to start another band when I was like already like, oh my God, I don't know if I could do this again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask, like starting over and over and over over again, it's like devastating.
Hell. It is devastating.
And then it finally clicked.
Yeah, it finally clicked, yeah.
But it was coincidence. It was not like plans. It's how you met. Like you met Ryan when he came out of the room when you were checking the guitar and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, because at that point, I had already been trying for 4 years to put this band together with lots of different people, just trying to find the right people. And then, I got to a point where I had a steady band for about a year or so. And then that fell apart, and it had nothing to do with me. It was like the other members had issues with each other, and they were all coming to me saying, I can't be in a band with this guy. It's either me or him or whatever, and they were all saying that about each other. And I was in this weird spot. And that's where I was like about to give up on the whole idea, because I was like, I've been putting so much effort in this. It's been maybe it's not supposed to happen. You know what I mean?
But even 4 years, like for any band, not only yours with your dedication, it's just in general. It's like so crushingly long.
Yeah, even to be. This is before a song has even been released into the world. You know what I mean?
There was no releases at all.
Nothing. This is even just trying to get the band together.
Trying to find the right people, right?
Yeah. So
Ryan said that the vibe is really important for him and for you also.
Yeah, totally. Because the main reward with doing this is doing it, and being around people you like and having fun and creating magic together and all that kind of thing. Like, that's the reward. Nobody, especially nowadays in this particular genre of music, is in it to get rich or money or any kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely not.
You know what I mean? So that is important, because the amount of time and your own money out of your own pocket and everything that you have to put into doing this, the payback is doing it, and just having fun and making sure that the vibe is cool and all that kind of thing. And that even gets challenging after a while with people, too.
Do you get self-doubt?
Like what kind of self-doubt? Like,
it's not working out. Maybe I'm not worthy.
No,
maybe.
None of that. No.
Not anymore, because you've been through all the shit before.
Yeah, exactly. I have none of that. And I never have,
Yeah, especially you went to LA.
Yeah.
From where?
I grew up in Toronto, in Ontario, in Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You went the classic way of going to LA.
Yeah.
Trying to find success there, living in a van.
Yeah.
You quit your job.
Yeah.
Quit steady job, good job, and at the same time moved in a van, slept in a van for a long time in hostels and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Did the classic rock and roll stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I've been pretty dedicated to it. Like, I just knew at a really young age that, like, that was what my life was about. And there were times where I questioned it and got really deep into a spiritual path and wondered if, part of, like, letting go of things and not being so attached to, outcomes or personal things or guitars or whatever. I went through a phase in my life when I moved into my van where I got rid of I gave away all my stuff, all my records and books and CDs and everything I had, and I was like still working on music, but I was questioning whether it was what I still wanted to do, especially living in LA with how the music business is there. It's quite opposite of what I envisioned myself being a part
And especially you worked at Amoeba shop, and everybody who will listen to this episode knows about Amoeba, of course.
Cool. Yeah, it's an awesome record store.
Yeah, it's an awesome record store. But you knew from first of all, LA show business, of course. Yeah. That's one thing. And the second thing, in Amoeba shop, so you saw the music industry at its core, how it's going.
Yeah, from every angle.
And it was not really pretty, I guess.
No, I mean, yeah, and it's like thinking of any art as a business also is tough. It's hard, you know what I mean? Because it's like I'm purely from like the heart and the art side of it, and to try and think of it as like how are we going to market you and this and that, or changing how you look and sound to make it more marketable and all that kind of thinking is not me, so I definitely questioned whether I belonged in LA or that scene or whatever, you know what I mean? Because it's still now like, is it a business or I don't know what the hell. We're trying to make it a business, but like really we're at least I can speak it for myself and I know Laura too. Like the reward is just doing it and touring and having fun and creating magic and all that kind of thing,
And that's what people like hear in the music. That they feel that you are the real shit, and at least that's how I felt. That was okay, and everything else just comes together with it, I guess.
I hope, we're doing our best, It seems like we've been getting a great response from the people that we're reaching. Reaching people is harder. I mean, it's easier and harder because there's the internet and there's the community of like the underground stoner scene and everything, which has been super helpful to us, But reaching people beyond that has been difficult, and we're going out on these tours, coming to Europe for the first time, and you know what I mean? So like we're still building an audience, like I would say like at these shows it's like 50-50 between people who know us and know our music or people that just happen to be there or they heard a good show was happening and you know what I mean, and they showed up and now we have a new fan because of that, you know what I mean? So there's been a lot of that. So we're hoping next time it's twice as big and all that kind of stuff. And we were lucky to get on a lot of festivals on this one as well, which has been great to get in front of a lot of people, and people seem to be really liking it. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, like what the outcome of it is. I hope that people feel that, because that's
Hopefully.
What's happening, but like...
You're going to still play tonight. It's for the context for the people to understand. So, but I'm pretty sure like most of the people who came today, well, as you said, but in this case, 60%, I would say, it came for you.
All right, cool. Well, that's rad.
So yeah, you mentioned that you had a really extensive tour this year. Mm-hmm. We need to tell that you, in 2018, around September, you were writing new material, preparing all the good stuff, right? Recorded stuff, and then 2020 came with the Corona stuff.
Sure.
So my question is like, probably because of that, you postponed everything. Plus, there was a change in the lineup.
Yeah, so like coming into 2020, that was going to be a big year for us because at the end of 2019, after 111 came out and we had done a little bit of touring and we were starting to get known in the scene a little more, we started getting offers for festivals and tours and like Psycho Las Vegas, and we were going to do a European tour with Green Lung from England, and all these things were planned for 2020, and it was going to be a big year for us. And of course, everything got shut down and we couldn't do any of it. So yeah, a lot of it, all that got postponed. And that's when the band was just starting to get wings, like we were still like getting a lot of momentum. And so yeah, that kind of put a damper on things. And then at that time, we were also ready to do Circle of Days, the next record. We had already like been working on the material and just about ready to record when the pandemic hit, but it got slowed down because of course for the first couple of months it was the extreme lockdown and all that, so we weren't even able to get together. I mean, Laura and I lived together, so we were able to, but the rest of the band we didn't. And then by the time Ryan was ready to jam again and we were able to start hanging out, he had to kind of relearn and rework on his parts before he felt comfortable to record. And so yeah, and then we didn't see Ben, our old singer, pretty much almost the whole pandemic because he was really weary about going out and being with people and stuff. So if anything, it prolonged our relationship with him, I think, because we didn't see him because things to that point weren't going so well. with him, and if I think that he was around more, he would
been happy.
That album probably wouldn't have even come out, you know.
All right, that's new info.
Yeah. I mean, I don't talk a lot about it because I'm not trying. I don't want to spread any kind of negativity or anything like that.
No, but it's just like when I was doing research, I could see, okay, there's a lineup change, there's Corona stuff, but probably, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, on a level, just like human level, it's not really important in that case, you know, like for the music's, what happened there. It's you can put it in your book, in your memoirs,
exactly.
in the future.
Yeah.
But for this case, no.
Yeah.
So you got the Circle of Days, right? So and you had material also for Doom Sessions. You recorded it together.
Yep.
And okay, finally the time comes this year to tour. In the beginning of the year, you already had some tours in the US.
Yeah.
And then the cool stuff happened is all these festivals.
Yeah.
This summer.
Yeah.
So I would just say Psycho Las Vegas, Ripple Fest Texas, UK tour, Heavy Psych Sounds, it all happened this summer.
Yeah.
And happening now because we're right now on
We're
tour.
in the middle of it, yeah.
35 so you had 35, where the fuck is it? 35 shows in the US and 24 in Europe.
Yeah.
And you're right, this Sunday you should be done with your tour, I guess.
It's the last week, yeah. So yeah.
How are you feeling, first of all?
All things considered, I'm feeling great.
Yeah, but you're the band who like freaking enjoys playing live.
Yeah.
And this is your
It is. That's
life.
why we do it. Yeah. Speaking for myself at least, but yeah, I think everybody we love it. Yeah, and that's why we're here and why we're doing it. So we're having a great time. And I mean, particularly here in Europe, it's been wonderful because not only do we get to play our music in new places, but everywhere has been beautiful to visit. Even just without playing music, it's been beautiful to visit, and all the people have treated us so well. All the promoters have treated us really well, and all the whole experience has been great. So much better than touring in the States, and easier.
That's what I heard from many people, like from Broom people also. They said the same thing, that in the United States, especially LA.
Yeah.
Forget about decent.
They treat you like shit there. I mean, they pay you the bare minimum. You don't get any accommodations, no food.
Why is that? Is it because there are so many musicians out there and they can choose, or is just the attitude of music industry? For example, LA, it's like business.
Yeah, I think there's a number of different things. I mean, it's just because that has become the standard there, whereas in Europe, they have a certain standard, and the standards are just lower in the States. Also, I think that it's also harder for promoters to make money maybe in the States too.
How much is the price of a ticket, for example, in the United States?
Now I think the prices have gone up a little bit, since everything else has gone up, so you'll probably pay $15 or $20 for a ticket now, whereas maybe it would be 8 or 10 before, yeah, I mean, there's just, there's all these costs involved in putting on a show, like hiring, the bar staff and the security and the sound guy and the lighting guy and this and that. And so there's all these different people to pay. And the band kind of gets paid last,
Everybody exploiting the musician.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, that's how it's just the system of how it is now. And I mean, if your band gets to a certain level where you're packing houses and whatever, then you're making money, and
I heard from the Psychic Hit bands, even though one of the singers was touring with some, I forgot which band, but even them, they were treating like shit in LA. Everywhere else, better, a little bit better, but still. Who organized? Usually you do usually everything that you do yourself.
Sure.
But what about the European tour? Who helped you with Heavy Psych
It was
Sounds?
Heavy Psych Sounds, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That was the main reason I wanted to work with Gabe and Heavy Psych Sounds, was because not only is it a really cool label with a lot of cool bands and stuff like that, but because I knew that they were also a booking agency and they were well connected in Europe. And playing in Europe and building an audience in Europe was one of the main goals that I had with this band, so it was important to me. So
how was the Heavy Psych Sounds Fest? It was recently,
incredible.
like last week. Or...
Yeah, just this last weekend. It was just a couple of days ago. Yeah, we played in Berlin and Dresden, and both shows were amazing. Great audiences. Great bands.
Ryan told me that he was like checking out the Black Rainbows,
We
and I'm
finally
wearing
got
the
to
Black
see them.
Rainbows T-shirt at the moment.
Yeah, we finally got to see them. I've been a fan of Gabe and that band for a long time too. So it was really cool to finally get to see them play, especially because they don't play a whole lot anymore as much as they used to. So
It's an Italian band.
yeah, Italian band, amazing. Yeah, they were amazing. So that was a highlight for me, getting to see that for sure. Yeah, those festivals were incredible, and just being included, we were honored to be there. And we played Into the Void Festival, which was amazing. Desert Fest, Antwerpen. We played.
How was the UK tour?
The UK was good.
There were not so many, like 6 gigs.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it was only 4. I think. Yeah, it wasn't extensive. It was great. The London show was a highlight. That was a really great show. It was packed and had a great show. All the Bristol was great. Bournemouth was great.
You managed to go through Birmingham.
We did, yeah, on our way to Sheffield. That was a long day because our van broke down shortly after that.
And it's important for the Black Sabbath people.
Yeah,
You checked out the Black.
yeah. So we had to stop through Birmingham. Like it was kind of a little bit out of the way, but I was like, we got to stop, and because I had never really visited there before, so I wanted to just see what the vibe was like there, and then visit the bridge and whatever. And
Did something like totally surprised you?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess the whole thing surprised me because I guess I had to envision. I don't even know what I envisioned, but it wasn't how I envisioned it. If that makes any sense, I don't know. Like,
Maybe like how people imagine LA.
yeah, and then you get there. Yeah, so I didn't.
I mean,
didn't
like
know
just
what
as
to
an image in their
It was
head.
it was a bigger city than I expected. For some reason, I thought it was like a smaller, like more like European, old school kind of town. But it was more like kind
Industrial.
of industrial, modern, kind of like big city kind of thing. So that was kind of surprising.
You checked out. I saw the photos. That you checked out the bench where the Black Sabbath people.
Yeah, that was really cool. We had to do that. So there was some monument there that we knew how to get to at least. You know what I mean?
I wanted to check like if you went to Liverpool or not to get the Beatles
Oh
or
my
something
God,
like
that's
this because I know you're a Beatles fan.
Huge
also.
Beatle fans, yeah. Yeah, we didn't get to do that. Like even in London, like we had to leave right in the morning, so we didn't get to do any like of the stuff. We visit Abbey Road or any of that kind of stuff. We would.
Right, you're a touring band. You're like working band.
Yeah,
You like
yeah.
you play, you sleep, and then you
Get
go
up and
next place.
Yeah, exactly. There's not much time to hang out. So, but it's cool because like seeing these places, it makes you can take notes for like when you come back to visit, like where you would like to stay and spend more time and all that kind of stuff. So,
And I'm pretty sure it will happen.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we're going to be coming back and doing these tours much more frequently as well because it's been a great experience. So.
All right. So let's talk about the recent single, the "Nice to Know."
Sure.
"Nice to Know You,"
Yeah.
which was released in July this year, 2022.
Yeah.
So first of all, Laura sings.
Right.
I don't think it was before like that in the previous recordings.
Never. Yeah, she started doing backup vocals and things, but yeah, it was never even a thought to have her be a lead singer for her or us or anything. She was kind of just thrown into that position because we had, the album come out, and like I was saying, things weren't going well with Ben, and like we were trying to like at least work it out so that we could do the initial touring to support the album and then maybe go our
Because everything was planned already.
Yeah, we had like a couple tours already planned, and it just went south. And and like the guy who helped us book the tour, he was like, "Well, look, you can't just cancel this whole thing. It'll look really bad on me, on you, and like
You will never get invited again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he was like, I don't know if he was serious or what, but he was just like, have Laura sing, whatever, just do something, And we asked her, and she was like, okay, I'll try, kind of thing. And she had to learn, all the lyrics and figure out how to play bass and sing at the same time. She had 2 weeks to do all this, 2 or 3 weeks, I think. Yeah. And it was a lot of pressure, and we were all kind of nervous about it because we just put a new fucking album out with, a different singer and everything. But we went and did it, and people fucking loved it.
I loved it. I loved
Cool.
the new single,
Right on. Thank you.
and it's like it felt a little bit doomy for me,
Sure.
like more doomy. Is
Yeah.
it like how you're like want to go a little bit?
Not necessarily. I think it's just an aspect of what we do.
Is it like inspired by the Corona time? It's like, like where we feel heavy, let's do heavy stuff.
Kind of a little bit, I think it's always been a part of our sound a little bit, there's always been that, especially like on Circle of Days and Doom Sessions. We kind of consider that whole thing as a one body of work, but like there's a lot of different elements of like there's doom and thrash and rock and all these different things, soul and whatever you hear in our music. Like, so like this next record's same type of thing. There's going to be a doomy kind of stuff. There's going to be all over the place.
How much funkadelic is in there?
I don't know how much made it to this one, but I've definitely got some funkadelic flavored songs ready to go when the time comes. Yeah.
Still remember, I forgot to ask about the tour. So Dave Mustaine gave you an advice, like he gave you an advice to always be clean so you don't get sick.
Sure.
And he also gave you an advice to journal everything so that you have stuff to remember. Do you do that?
I've been trying my best, but there's not a lot of time at all to do anything, especially because I'm also kind of like tour managing too. So like when we get up, we get in the van, we're going to the next place, and I'm figuring out, okay, what time we got to be there? Do we have a hotel for night? I got to book this. I got to talk to this guy, talk to that guy. And then I'm doing Instagram posts and this and that.
Responding to my messages.
Exactly. Things like, and responding to messages and all kinds of things. And then there's emails coming at us. And so I haven't been able to sit like physically with a journal like that. But at the same time, like with Instagram, I've been trying to like make that my journal, So
and
like,
actually it works pretty much. You have you made a lot.
Yeah,
I had to go through all of
sure,
them, but
yeah,
still,
we're posting
but it's
every day.
pretty accurate of how you feel, how like you can like just remember to save all of them.
Sure. Yeah. I hope that Instagram stays up for a while because that's kind of where everything is recorded, like you're remembering the bands we played with and the promoters and the people that were there and try to just remember all that kind of stuff. And then we try to post a lot of stories also. So like if we're at a truck stop in France or whatever, just like little things like that. Those are kind of our little diary. We're just using our Instagram as our diary for now.
All right. So we can say that you're following the advice of Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You just do it in a new way that he didn't even expect to happen.
Yeah. And I don't really drink and party a whole lot either. So I've been trying to stay healthy and to my best ability. And it's been great.
So what's the plan? I mean, not the plan, but okay. First of all, how do you relax after the tour? Because you don't really relax after the tours. You stay at home for like a month and then you go on the next tour. So what's the plan now?
Yeah. So that's, this last one, it was really crazy, 6 weeks and then getting home and relaxing, but not really relaxing because there was a ton of stuff to catch up on that we were gone, But when we get back, basically like, before we left for both of these tours, we were working on the new album. So we recorded like 90% of it already. Like Nice to Know You was one of those songs that we recorded. And I wanted to get at least one of those out before we did this tour. But when we get back, the plan is to finish the album as soon as possible. Because even once we hand it in to the label, it's going to take 6 months before the vinyl and everything is processed. And, so the goal is to kind of just get to work after catching up on sleep and whatever, when we get back and relaxing a little bit, just to get that record done.
So probably the new material. Are you going to release some singles before? But probably the album will come out somewhere at least in March.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So there'll be singles leading up to it, and we're actually playing some of the songs in our set now on this tour. Also.
Yeah, it's for the people who want to expect new stuff from you.
Yeah, totally. It's a whole new chapter for the band, and we're really excited about it.
I want to ask, you recorded the Nice to Know You at the 8-4 studio, right?
Sure.
And knowing that you like to have funny names for your home studios.
Right, yeah.
I guess it's a new studio that you moved into a new location.
Yeah, it's this guy, Ben Barnett, that owns it. He was an old friend of Ryan, our drummer, and he invited us to check out his studio. And usually I do stuff all on my own, when I went and visited his studio, I saw he had every piece of gear that I've ever dreamed of using, like endless budget kind of stuff, and it's all, we were recording to tape and all these really cool.
Yeah, Nice to Know You was recorded to tape also.
Yeah. Some of it was to computer, but in the end, the whole thing went through tape before it
To
went
get
to
this
mastering.
nice saturation of the tape.
Like real actual tape. Yeah. So that was really cool, and I've always wanted to do that. We also did the mix live on a board. So we recorded the mix to a tape. So basically,
this is new.
Yeah,
From what I heard from
yeah.
other bands.
The other ones, yeah, because everything before has been done on Pro Tools, where you can automate things and you can work on it forever. You know what I mean? Like, and that I like that, but then I don't, because you could be mixed for 10 years and be fixing things still, you know. But the pressure of having to do it, like, okay, we're doing a take and it's going right to the tape. You have to get it in this thing, you know. So like, me and Ben were like there, like moving the faders and shit, like live down to tape.
So limitations improved your workflow in a way.
I think so. I mean, yeah, it made it go faster, that's for sure. And you had to just commit to it, you know.
About the new stuff, like usually, like with the previous albums, it was the riffs that you composed some time ago, right? Before the
Sure.
With this one, is it also like some old ideas revised, or you decided to go all new here?
Let me think. With this one, it's mostly pretty recent stuff. There is,
I think like when Laura started to sing,
yeah.
you realized that it's time to maybe like do it new way, you know, like.
Well, my process has always kind of been the same, because I'm always writing.
Yeah. You wake up in the morning, the guitar and all this stuff.
Sure, yeah. So I have so much stuff ready to go, and I just kind of send it to the band, and whatever they like, we work on, kind of thing. So trying to suit stuff, it's been kind of like for this record, because we were kind of in a rush. We were already working on this material even before the last album came out. Some of it was already been worked out.
What about the recent single, Nice to Know You, when it came out? Let's use this as an example.
So that one I've had around probably since 111.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's
You're that kind of guy. We know.
yeah.
You have a huge vault with all the riffs and stuff.
Yeah. I've got hundreds of songs that are ready to go. And so I have a lot of stuff, and the record that we're working on now, we kind of just worked on the music without vocals in mind, and now Laura is adapting to those songs, whereas the next album might be more suited to her voice, you know. And I'm already inspired to work on the next record but we have to finish this one first. But I'm still kind of like, I'm still bursting with ideas. Like
I like with this single is that everybody has a chance to shine in this thing. Everybody has a cool part, and it's all going into together like harmony is there.
Sure.
But it's you have parts, unexpected parts, which I like.
Cool, right on. Glad you like it. Yeah, it's really important to me, especially with a 3-piece band, that everybody's kind of up front and doing some cool shit. You know what I mean? It's not just like one person or whatever. It's just like a lot of my favorite bands. Like everybody in the band was bringing it. Like Black Sabbath, right?
Rush.
Rush. You know what I mean? Everybody's just as important, you know, and doing really cool stuff.
All right. So the new stuff is coming out sometime next year, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna play tonight. Tomorrow, Sasquatch is coming to town.
Oh, no shit. Cool. That's awesome.
It was last minute addition, you know.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I know that you played with them together.
Yeah.
Sasquatch and Slomos are playing together. I'm going to take interviews with them also.
Great, yeah.
But my brain is fucked right now because I didn't expect them to come, and I had to like prepare like really quick.
Yeah.
Anyways, what could you help me with the Sasquatch? What should I ask them? Or maybe what you want to tell them, you know?
Sure. Well, like we've been also interweaving on this tour in Europe, seeing them too. We played a couple shows together, and then we'll be in one place and then they're there the next night, or vice versa. It's been kind of funny. One thing you can ask them about is they've been on the road for 4 fucking months straight. So when we did that tour with them in the States, they had already come to Europe before that, did that tour. Then they went to Australia and New Zealand, and then they came straight to Europe. So they've been on tour straight.
Yeah, the Sasquatch, the fucking bonkers people.
Yeah, so I'm sure they've got a lot of stories. I would ask them about that and how that's been for the band, because I have a lot of questions. I got to ask them a little bit hanging out here and there, but I'm curious how it's been. It seems like they're having a blast and they're crushing it. We saw them at Desert Fest like a week or two ago, and they were fucking amazing. Like they were amazing on the tour we did, but it seemed like they were on a whole other level. So it seems like however hard this was on them, on stage, they're fucking going to a whole new level, and it's great.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have a separate episode with them. We don't want to talk too much about them,
sure.
You know. I will just ask them about the tour.
Sure, yeah.
You're the highlight of tonight.
Okay.
It's just I wanted to ask, like,
sure.
Give me a quick example. Anyways, all right. So we don't have much time because you need to play, and we want to see the other band also play.
Yeah.
What I usually ask in the end is, could you give me a Hippie Death Cult song that you'll put at the end of the episode?
Oh, wow.
A good introduction to your band, so that somebody who doesn't know will listen.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to go with Nice to Know You, because
it's a perfect choice.
That's the only song we have out.
And you made the cover also.
Yeah. That was a photograph I took at a cemetery near our house in Portland.
And it's red, I think.
Yeah, it's like an orangey red kind of.
It's for the people to get like, oh, okay, cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah. It's just a reminder, again, like what I was talking about earlier, just like how temporary everything is. That's even kind of like the theme with the name of the band and stuff. It's kind of looking at death in more of like a positive light.
All right, and say again the name of the song with attitude.
Nice to Know You.
Alright, thanks, Hippie Death Cult. I really dig that song. Thank you, dear listener, for staying to the end. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Don't forget to follow the show on Spotify, and if you like what you're hearing, rate the show on Spotify, Apple, or any other podcast platform that you prefer. Check out the Patreon page, write a review. I like reviews, and I hate reviews. Anyways, also you can leave a comment on Instagram. Everything is welcomed. Alright, thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Until next time, bye.